looking to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Hello, I'm Eliana Sebastian. Welcome to ASEAN in Focus. On tonight's headline, the Philippines, albeit far from the Korean peninsula where Pyongyang had been carrying out missile tests at an unprecedented rate this year, must respond firmly to the provocations. Korea's Ministry of Unification on Thursday said Manila and the rest of the international community must support Seoul and urge North Korea towards denuclearization and to return to dialogue as soon as possible.
We owe it to the Philippines.
President Marcos Jr. believes that the government owes it to the Filipino people to build major roads and critical infrastructure that will spur progress in interconnectivity, ease traffic, and reduce travel time. The 7th edition of the Singapore will last till today, November 4.
Journey.
And for the first time, the flag of the Philippines was raised in New York City as part of the commemoration of Filipino-American History Month. Mayor Eric Adams and Consul General El Mercato led New York City officials and members of the Filipino community in the historic event at Bowling Green and Wall Street. First, in our news, the United States offered $5 million to track down a Singaporean businessman accused of violating sanctions on North Korea, including through oil shipments on a tanker seized last year. The reward comes as the United States urges strict enforcement of the United Nations sanctions on North Korea after it launched a volley of missiles, including one that landed close to South Korea's waters. The State Department offered up to $5 million for information on Kwek Hee-seng, blaming him for numerous fuel deliveries to North Korea and ship-to-ship transfers, as well as money laundering through front companies. Federal prosecutors in New York in 2021 issued an arrest warrant for Kwek a year after one of its oil tankers, the MT Courageous, was seized by Cambodia on a U.S. request over purported sanctions violations. Kwek, 62, owns the Swansea Sports Services shipping company in Singapore, a close U.S. ally. The State Department's Rewards for Justice program said his exact location was not known and that he has also been identified as being in North Korea, Cambodia, Taiwan, and Thailand as well as Cameroon and the tiny Caribbean nation of St. Kitts and Nevis. The Philippines, albeit far from the Korean peninsula where Pyongyang had been carrying out missile tests at an unprecedented rate this year, must respond firmly to the provocations. Korea's Ministry of Unification on Thursday said Manila and the rest of the international community must support Seoul and urge North Korea towards denuclearization and to return to dialogue as soon as possible. We ask that the Philippines, together with the international community, support the ROK or the Republic of Korea government's effort to induce North Korea to stop such military provocations, the ministry told the Philippine news agency. To resolve the issue, the Philippines and the international community must respond firmly to North Korea's provocations and make efforts to bring North Korea back to the dialogue on denuclearization, it added. The South Korean ministry, which handles the inter-Korean relations and unification matters, said Pyongyang's continuous weapon tests pose a threat to peace and stability not only on the peninsula, but also in Asia and the rest of the world. It hoped that the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or the ASEAN, specifically the ASEAN Regional Forum, could play a more constructive role on the issue. The ASEAN Regional Forum is a security dialogue platform composed of the 10 ASEAN member states and 17 others, including South Korea, North Korea, China, and Russia. Amnesty International said aviation fuel supplied to junta-ruled Myanmar for civilian planes is being diverted to the military, whose air force has been linked to war crimes. Fighting has flared with ethnic rebel groups as well as newer anti-coup People's Defense Forces, and rights groups have accused the military of launching airstrikes on civilians that amount to war crimes. Amnesty tracked 8 shipments of aviation fuel arriving at Tilawa Port Terminal outside commercial hub Yangon between February 2021 and September this year. Let's take a look.
And then we track these deliveries to 2 destinations: commercial airports, where there are storage deliveries there as well, and to military air bases. What we also do is we link these two. We find evidence that those involved in the supply chain of aviation fuel for commercial purposes are actually linked, not always with their knowledge, but linked to deliveries of aviation fuel to the military air bases. We link fuel entering the country through the Peace Terminal at Tilawa, and then we're able to directly link trucks that leave that port to air bases that we thereafter link to airstrikes that amount to war crimes. So that does exist, and that's one of the key findings of the report. What I cannot say is that one specific shipment was used for an airstrike on a given date, but we have what the report shows clearly is that there is a direct connection between this port, this terminal, and an airbase from which airstrikes have departed, or jets that have then conducted airstrikes that amount to war crimes have departed. That is clear in the report. What Amnesty International has documented in this report, but also in previous ones, is that the Myanmar military has increasingly relied on airstrikes to conduct its operations across the country. And these airstrikes are responsible for massive displacement around the country, and of course, deaths and injuries of civilians. Finally, we recognize that civilian flights would be affected. Yes, there are a number of people that take flights on a daily basis in Myanmar. But again, we want to stress that until the Myanmar military does not stop using its jets to conduct unlawful airstrikes, people are dying and being displaced on a daily basis. And we felt, therefore, that a suspension on the supply of aviation fuel could be the only or one of the only steps to take to reduce the Myanmar military's ability to conduct these unlawful airstrikes.
After its investigation conducted with activist group Justice for Myanmar, Amnesty said Thai Oil, a shipping agent and subsidiary of Norwegian maritime group Will Helmsten, announced they would halt all business involving aviation fuel in Myanmar. Amnesty called on all companies involved in the supply chain to immediately suspend the direct and indirect supply, sale, and transfer, including transit, transshipment, and brokering of aviation fuel. Southeast Asian foreign ministers are frustrated and disappointed over the deteriorating situation in Myanmar, despite ASEAN's 5-point consensus on the crisis, said Indonesian Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi. Marsudi spoke after attending a special ASEAN ministerial meeting in Jakarta, addressing the ongoing turmoil in Myanmar since the military coup in February last year. Take a look.
Para Menlu ASEAN menyampaikan concern dan kekecewaan terhadap tidak adanya kemajuan signifikan dari pelaksanaan 5 point of consensus. Sangat jelas kekhawatiran ini dan bahkan beberapa negara menyampaikan rasa frustrasinya terhadap tidak adanya kemajuan ini.
Junta leader Min Aung Hlaing has not been invited to the ASEAN Leaders Summit in Cambodia this November for the 2nd year in a row, and Myanmar's top diplomat Wunamong Win was excluded from the ministerial talks in February and August. Human Rights Watch's Deputy Asia Director Phil Robertson said ASEAN needs to get tough by establishing clear, time-bound human rights benchmarks on Myanmar. Let's take a look.
Asian nations, but ASEAN has proved completely unable to cope with the challenge. I mean, ASEAN itself is split right down the middle on how to approach this problem. So it's now time for the international community to take it out of the hands of ASEAN and really look now to some sort of specific intervention that is going to then put the pressure on the military junta, force them to step back, and ultimately, we hope, reach some sort of deal where there can be a new political future for Myanmar.
President Marcos Jr. believes that the government owes it to the Filipino people to build major roads and critical infrastructure that will spur progress and social change, promote interconnectivity, ease traffic, and reduce travel time. In his speech after the signing of the contract, President Marcos assured the public, particularly commuters, that the government will strive to provide a more efficient public transportation system in the country. Take a look.
We owe it to the Filipino people to build major roads and critical infrastructure that will not only spur progress and social change, but also promote interconnectivity, ease traffic, and reduce travel time. We had seen the signing of the Metro Manila Subway project with the signing of Contract Package 102 and Contract Package 103. I am one with the Filipino people in anticipating the eventual realization of this extremely important flagship project, which, once it is completed, will significantly reduce travel time between Quezon City and Pasay from 1 hour and 30 minutes to just 35 minutes. But it is not only that. The volume of traffic that a subway or a railway can take as compared to a highway or a road is significantly higher because it is regular, there is no traffic, and it is scheduled. And so people can hope that it is a reliable. We hope to reduce the terrible sight of going home at midnight along EDSA and still seeing people waiting to take the bus. That is the advantage of what the subway will bring. They know that they can always go to the subway station and there will be a train coming along in a few minutes. Once the MMSP is fully operational, we envision that millions of jobs as well as opportunity will also be created following this seamless transport system. Yet, even before it begins its operations, it is already set to yield many fruits. The implementation of the civil works for Contract Package 102 and Contract Package 103 alone are set to create thousands of jobs and opportunities for many Filipinos. The world recognizes Japan for having a very efficient rail transport system, which the Philippines aspires to one day emulate. We thank you for your continued support, and I hope to further advance our cooperation in other areas for the mutual benefit of our peoples. We are also thankful to the Japan International Cooperation Agency for providing the financial support for the implementation of Contract Package 102 and 103. Similarly, we must acknowledge that Nishimatsu DMCI joint venture and Sumitomo Mitsui Construction for working closely with the Philippine government in ensuring the completion of these contract packages. And I thank you not only for this specific project, I thank the JICA who have been supporting the development of the Philippines for the last 50 years.
President Marcos Jr. expressed his intent to strengthen the Philippines' collaboration with Japan in various areas of mutual interest. President Marcos made the commitment when Mori Masafumi, the special advisor to Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, paid a courtesy call on him at Malacanang Palace. President Marcos mentioned his plan to improve the two countries' cooperation on climate change mitigation, maritime security, agriculture and food security, and infrastructure development. Undersecretary Cheloy Garafil, officer in charge of the Office of the Press Secretary or the OPS, said in a press statement. The president also sought strategic partnership with Japan in the West Philippine Sea. President Marcos said he wants to work with the Japanese government on climate change, maritime security, the West Philippine Sea, agriculture and food security, as well as infrastructure development, she said. During his meeting with Masafumi, Marcos said Japan is and will remain a solid and steadfast partner of the Philippines. Mr. Masafumi, in response, echoed Prime Minister Kishida's confidence in President Marcos and his administration. He also reiterated Prime Minister Kishida's strong commitment to continue the two nations' mutual high-level engagement and bilateral platforms in pursuit of enhanced strategic partnership. Masafumi also renewed Japan's invitation to Marcos to embark on a state visit to Japan. The first Philippine winner of the ASEAN Fintech Leader Award was awarded to Miss Amor Maclang. Amor is the convener of the Digital Filipinas Philippine Fintech Festival, the One ASEAN Fintech Movement, and in the Philippine representative to the ASEAN Blockchain Consortium. In the Philippines, she's the executive director and trustee of Fintech Philippine Association and co-founder of leading nascent technology ecosystem advisory firm, Jaser Maclang. The Singapore Fintech Festival Global Fintech Awards represent the industry's highest accolade for fintech innovation. The awards, supported by PwC Singapore, seek to recognize innovative fintech solutions by fintech companies, financial institutions, technology companies, as well as individuals and companies that have been instrumental in creating new growth opportunities, transforming fintech industry practices, and promoting financial inclusion. The 7th edition of the Singapore Fintech Festival, or the SFF, commenced as an in-person event. It started last October 30 and will last till today, November 4. It was organized by the Monetary Authority of Singapore and Elevandi. The theme of SFF 2022 is Building Resilient Business Models Amid Volatility and Change. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Finance Lawrence Wong opened the conference on November 2. Let's listen in.
So these 5 E's: to enhance, empower, envision, encourage, and engage. These 5 E's sets the backdrop for Singapore's fintech journey to harness the full potential of technology and innovation and to become indeed more resilient as a country. And the pandemic has been a significant catalyst in getting businesses to embrace digitalization. And so one such initiative I'm happy to share today is something called e-Guarantee at Gov. Basically, the MAS and MOF, my ministry, worked with the financial industry to digitalize bankers' guarantees and insurance bonds that are provided to government agencies. So in the past, when companies had to apply for these guarantees and bonds, paper documents, and then convey the physical documents to the government agencies, all of this taking a few days. With the digitalization efforts, you can do all this online within a day. Another innovation is the use of purpose-bound digital Singapore dollar, which enables us to specify conditions like when and where these digital monies can be used. For example, parents may want to ensure that the allowance for their children are used only for meals and school supplies, just as an example. You can think of many other purpose-bound users. So to test this concept, we will trial the use of purpose-bound money in the form of digital Singapore dollar-backed vouchers for making purchases at participating merchants at this festival itself. We know today that cross-border payments are still inefficient and costly, and technology has the ability to improve the speed and scale of retail payments compared to what we have today. And this will not only benefit businesses by reducing costs and improving access to foreign markets, it also provides a much faster and cheaper option for individuals, such as those who are working in Singapore and need to remit monies back to their families. Within Singapore, we have something we call Pay Now. The residents will be familiar with this. That allows individuals to transfer money to one another using your mobile number, or businesses using your unique enterprise numbers. And the transfer can be done 24/7. It's almost instantaneous. Other countries have their own systems. For example, in Thailand, they have a system called Prompt Pay. And last year, we launched the world's first linkage of real-time payment systems between Singapore's Pay Now and Thailand's Prompt Pay. And this extends the same benefits that we have in Pay Now to fund transfers between Singapore and Thailand. We have also been concurrently working to build similar connectivity with Malaysia and India. And these are two important corridors for cross-border trade and payments, and we can expect to see even higher transaction volumes once these linkages are established. MAS has made very clear our stance on the speculative trading of cryptocurrencies by retail investors. We believe this is highly risky, it's not suitable for the public, and in fact, we aim to reduce the risk of potential harm to consumers. But there should be no doubt at all that we are embracing fully the underlying technologies of distributed ledgers and the potential that they have to transform financial markets. In short, we aim to become a center for innovative and responsible digital asset activities. So the two key words, innovative as well as responsible. And that's why we launched one of our projects, Project Guardian, earlier this year, to explore the potential of asset tokenization with the industry. We have successfully conducted the first industry trials featuring cross-currency transactions and the trading of tokenized securities. These trials have helped to deepen our understanding of the digital asset ecosystem. In Singapore, we are investing in new technologies that can help decarbonize our economy, like the use of low-carbon hydrogen. Likewise, in the green fintech domain, technology is critical. In particular, it can help to ensure the quality and accessibility of ESG data and address concerns associated with greenwashing. And with better data, we can measure the problem, track progress, and be able to know how much we have done and how far we are from our goals. Think about this. When was the last time you had to write a check? I have not done so in years. I can't even remember where my checkbook is now. So the use of checks has declined sharply in Singapore. The share of checks as a proportion of payments used to be 32% in 2016, 32% in 2016. Now it's come down to 7%. The continued reliance on checks, of course, has resulted in suboptimal business processes and contributes to a relatively high cost of payments to the economy. So we aim to eliminate all checks and terminate central check clearing over the medium term. To ensure that our e-payment journey is inclusive, we will provide a longer runway for individuals to switch to alternative payment methods. This will also give us more time to consider the right solutions for those who are unable to adopt e-payments and look into the necessary transitional support.
The conference segment of Singapore FinTech Festival 2022 from November 2 to 4 features more than 400 sessions with government leaders, policymakers, innovators, economists, corporate leaders, and FinTech entrepreneurs. Since its inception in 2016, SFF has become the premier platform for the global FinTech community to engage, connect, and collaborate on issues relating to the development of the financial services, public policy, and technology. Contemporary Empirics Technology Company, or the CATL, and VinFast Trading Manufacturing Joint Stock Company, or VinFast, announced a Memorandum of Understanding for Global Strategic Cooperation to expand collaboration in areas including CIIC, or CATL Integrated Intelligent Chassis Skateboard Chassis Products. According to the agreement, CATL and VinFast intend to explore various forms of cooperation on CIIC skateboard chassis on top of the current cooperation on battery supply with CTP, or cell-to-pack technology, between the two companies, which will provide VinFast rapid access to the global market. CIIC skateboard chassis integrates battery packs, electronic motors, and other critical units into a single layer at the bottom of the vehicle, lowering purchasing costs, vehicle weight, and energy consumption, while maximizing cabin space for optimal driving experiences. In addition to the collaboration on CTP batteries and skateboard chassis, CATL is poised to cooperate with VinFast with respect to other areas, thus promoting battery innovation and e-mobility transition. VinFast, a member of Vingroup, envisioned to drive the movement of global smart electric vehicle revolution. Established in 2017, VinFast owns a state-of-the-art automotive manufacturing complex with globally leading scalability that boasts up to 90% automation in Haiphong, Vietnam. For the first time, the flag of the Philippines was raised in New York City as part of the commemoration of the Filipino-American History Month. Mayor Eric Adams and Consul General Elmer Cato led New York City officials and members of the Filipino community in the historic event at Bowling Green and Wall Street. Take a look.
New York City continues to be a city of immigrants, a welcoming city, and that we're coming together to support our newest New Yorkers. And of course, to continue to say no more to Asian hate. So thank you so much, Father Julian, for all the work that you do.
On behalf of the more than 85,000 Filipinos who call New York City their home, I would like to thank Mayor Eric Adams and his administration for hosting this flag-raising ceremony to commemorate Filipino-American History Month. This flag-raising ceremony marks the first time the Philippine flag is being raised outside the Philippine Consulate General in Midtown. And this is a recognition of the many contributions and achievements of Filipinos here in New York City. When New York City became the epicenter of the pandemic, Filipino nurses and other medical professionals stayed true to their oath to take care of the sick and the dying, sometimes at the expense of their very own lives. Today we honor the 30 Filipino doctors and nurses we lost during the pandemic, as well as other fallen heroes of New York City as we hoist the flags of both the United States of America and the Republic of the Philippines. And we also honor the city that has welcomed, nurtured, and sheltered the Filipino-American community through the years.
When you think about the rich diversity of this city and what it represents, when you think about the contributions, and I remember during the peak of COVID-19, when many people closed down and sheltered in place, when many people social distanced, when many people left the everyday shops and places where we do business, and I was out in the streets, and you know what I saw? I saw our immigrant population. I saw their stores remain open. I saw them stock the shelves in our restaurants. I saw them in our hospitals providing the medical care. I saw them continue to lift up this city. I would say this over and over again. People talk about the immigrant population in this country. The immigrant population, we need the immigrant population more than the immigrant population needs us. First Filipino-American to be a deputy mayor in the city of New York, the most important city in America. As she leaves with a level of proud of how she represents the AAPI community as she look at the development and how we move our city forward. I'm so proud to have her as a deputy mayor of the city of New York. 124 years of independence. We have 70,000 Filipino-Americans living in this city alone. That's political power and strength. I was telling the Council General I wanted one of the Baram. I want to wear that when I'm in office. When you
And Mayor Eric Adams got his gift from Consul General Cato, where he gifted the mayor a barong. Mayor Eric Adams wore them in front of the crowd watching the flag ceremony. Mayor Eric Adams said in 1946, the Philippines established its diplomatic presence here in New York with the establishment of the Consulate General of the Republic of the Philippines. Today, Filipinos comprise the third largest Asian American population here in the United States, with over 4.5 million. As my usual habit, I'd like to end this day on a positive note. Let's encourage and build each other up so that no one is left behind. From EBC Vietnam Bureau, I'm Eliana Sebastian. Thank you for joining us. And I would also like to remind everyone to stay in the news because we live in extraordinary times.